ShotokuTech News of the Week, bringing you news stories that you might have missed because there were other news stories. You're watching ShotokuTech News of the Week, 9 May 2020 edition. Now, son, don't go changing just because some scientists said so. Astronomers prove our sun is lazy and boring compared with other stars. Without the sun's heat, the Earth would be an ice-coated rock. It does a lot for us. But compared to stars of its other size, it turns out our sun is a deadbeat, a little bit lazy. Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research selected other sun-like stars based on similarities like surface temperature, rotation period, age, and proportion of elements higher than hydrogen and helium in order to provide a decisive comparison. What's most relevant is the rotation period. It seems the sun's spinning a little bit slower than most of its counterparts. The star's rotation influences the creation of its magnetic field, which determines how often the sun emits energetic radiation, how often it erupts particles into space, and how brightly it shines. So by comparison with 369 other stars, our sun is a lazy deadbeat. And you know what? I like it just the way it is, thank you. I'm sure you probably heard about this one, but in light of last week's story about insect populations, yep, here we have Asian giant hornets, nicknamed murder hornets. These Vespa mandarinia are between 1.5 inches to 2 inches long, and their venom is quite toxic and they can sting multiple times. Up to 50 people in Japan die from stings by these hornets every year. The large hornets were first seen in Washington state in December. They're known for wiping out full colonies of honeybees. They basically decapitate the bees and eat their thoraxes. Just a few Asian hornets can destroy a honey beehive in a matter of hours. Even worse, their stingers are long enough to poke through beekeeper suits that usually protect humans from bee stings. Funny, but while we were worried about something much smaller, a bus-sized asteroid flew by the Earth on May 3rd, Sunday. It was only 148,000 miles away. That's half the distance to the moon. This asteroid, 2020 JA, was just discovered recently. This astrophysicist, Gianluca Massi of the Virtual Telescope Project in Cesano, Italy, captured an image of 2020 JA with the telescope. It appears as a tiny pinpoint in this photograph. Small asteroids like 2020 JA zip by the Earth several times a month and typically pose no risk to our planet. Just April 28th, a tiny asteroid called 2020 HS7 passed by the Earth at a distance of 23,000 miles. That's like the diameter of the Earth. New asteroids like this are being discovered all the time at the rate of 30 each day. And if there's something you want to lose sleep over, here's some more links to click on. Well, in case you've binge watched everything and you're looking for a new movie not to watch, Ryan Reynolds wants you to know that you should not watch The Green Lantern. His 2011 movie with co-star Taika Waititi, they both denied even knowing that it existed. What's the project you're talking about? I've never heard of it, Waititi cheekily told Total Film Magazine. Green what? Of course, fans will never let either star forget they were in the film. Ryan Reynolds delivered a commencement speech at his alma mater on Friday, and he poked fun at the project again. Some of you might consider me successful. I don't know, some of you might have seen Green Lantern, but I'll tell you this, empathy has gotten me so much more, so much farther, he quipped, not only in my life, but in my career. And he gave free pizza to all the students of Kitsilano Secondary School in Vancouver, Canada. What a nice guy. For the first time in 50 years, Australia is building their own aircraft, and this is going to be a doozy. It's an AI attack drone. It's got a range of 3,700 kilometers, and it's going to join manned aircraft in battle. It was developed jointly by the Royal Australian Air Force and the American manufacturer Boeing. I'm sorry, how can this possibly be a thing? Gary Busey is a judge in a wild new animal courtroom TV show. That's, I can't say that I'll watch it, but I'm just letting you know it's out there. So on May 5th, 1961, Alan Shepard rides in the Freedom 7 Mercury spacecraft on the Redstone 3. And this was a 15-minute suborbital flight, the first American in outer space. Later, he flew onto the moon. Well, I suppose this had to happen at some point, but we have a movie star, NASA, and SpaceX preparing to shoot a movie in space, and yes, it's Tom Cruise. No, it's not part of the Mission Impossible franchise, but Tom Cruise, NASA, and SpaceX are beginning to work out the details of how he will film a movie in space. The training will take approximately 2 years. Tom Cruise at this point is 57 years old. As part of astronaut candidate training, candidates are required to complete military water survival before beginning their flying syllabus and become scuba qualified to prepare them for spacewalk training. So they have to pass the swimming test, tread water for 10 minutes in a flight suit, and they're exposed to high and low atmosphere pressures and perform emergency procedures during these situations. And they're exposed to microgravity. Presumably, Tom Cruise will have to perform all of this training before he can go into space. So which sci-fi, movie, or TV character would you like to see in outer space for real? Leave a comment below. Researchers have found evidence of a river that flowed on Mars for over 100,000 years. This Martian cliff may have been cut by hundreds of thousands of years of water flowing over it. Francesco Solis at Utrecht University in the Netherlands and his colleagues discovered a high rocky cliff that seems to have been formed gradually by the flow of an ancient river. This rocky outcrop is 200 meters high and 1.5 kilometers wide. The sedimentary rocks of the cliff are estimated to be 3.7 billion years old. This would have required an active river to create this. The team found this using data from the HiRISE camera aboard NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Typically, you're dealing with images that are shot from straight down, so they were lucky that this cliff was exposed in the right way for them to analyze it. If you look at the videos on my channel, I'm more of an IT infrastructure guy, but a development like this could make me interested in becoming a developer. GitHub launches Codespaces for browser-based coding. Basically, it's an integrated development platform right in your browser. This is going to allow people to collaborate on code over the internet without having to install software and such. And it turns out, heck, I didn't even know this, Visual Studio Online has basically been rebranded to Visual Studio Codespaces, and it's probably the underpinning of the GitHub Codespaces. So again, this is a collaborative online development platform where you can just type your code in, someone else can see it, and vice versa. Pretty interesting. So here's another interesting thing you can get from Wuhan. Scientists unveil a plasma engine that could replace regular jet propulsion. Basically, they're using compressed air and microwaves in a quartz tube to produce this thrust. I'm just wondering how much electrical energy they need to do this, but they're saying they're going to continue to work to scale it to replace jet engines. The new prototype produces plasma by compressing air under high pressures and exposing the air to microwaves, which ionize the pressurized air stream. NASA's Dawn space probe uses a similar concept, but in space it relies on xenon plasma. Xenon ions are unable to overcome friction to reach jet propulsion speeds on Earth, so the new design relies on high temperature, high pressure treatment combined with injected air and electricity, no special gases. So the Allen Institute has developed its latest 3D reference of the mouse brain. This is a very interesting article. This is their third version. It builds on a partial brain map that was focused on the mouse cortex that was released in 2016. The previous versions were lower resolution 3D maps. The latest high resolution maps are fine enough to pinpoint locations of individual brain cells. Previously, this work was done manually, so you got a very low resolution image. Here, they've created an average template from scans of 1,600 mouse brains and segmented that template into tiny virtual 3D blocks known as voxels. The team then assigned the voxels to hundreds of different known regions of the mouse brain, drawing careful borders between distinct areas. One study observed brain cell activity as mice chose among the images they saw during a laboratory test. The researchers conducting the study used a system of electrical probes known as neuropixels to document the activity of hundreds of neurons simultaneously across several regions of the brain. The activity extended to more brain regions than they expected, and this brain atlas helped them make sense of the big picture. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech News of the Week. So which sci-fi, movie, or TV character would you like to see in outer space for real? Leave a comment below. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share.